Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am joined today by Victoria Golovtseva. Victoria is a senior content marketer with over a decade of experience working in B2B SaaS for companies like Pix.io, Revenue Grid, and more. Currently, she's the senior content manager at Recruit CRM, and she also has her own content marketing agency for B2B SaaS called the Content Bridge Agency. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you, Christian, for introduction. Nice to meet you today.
Today's topic is an interesting one. It's how to, or even should you, use AI in content writing, which has been a hot topic since the release of AI, with some at first saying, ditch the writers and write completely with AI, and others at the other end of the spectrum saying, don't use AI at all. It's trash. Today, or at this moment, it seems to me that those using AI, those advocating for using only AI have become less and less because Google has penalized AI only content. And those saying completely rejecting AI have also become more open to using it for smaller use cases. And I just wanted to see where we are at today and ask a senior content writer or content marketer what is the current state of using AI for content writing. And Victoria has used it almost since the beginning, so curious to see what she has to say about the topic.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
probably start from the very beginning. My first experiments with AI started, I guess, in December 2022 when it just appeared. At that time, we used the free version. And to be frank, the first results were quite trash because it couldn't even reproduce normal results with facts, figures. It's still a problem, but it was completely bad. The first good experience I had was in August, I think last year, when it was the update. And since then, I used the paid version. And actually, the quality of what was produced became better. I would first tell about SEO kind of articles, which I tried to make with ChatGPT. To be frank, I also use some other things like content at scale, by Words AI, or some different types of these like AI startups, whatever. Anyway, ChatGPT produced the best results, I would say. And to be frank, I have to say to you that making the AI article is kind of impossible from scratch. You would can never create a long-term piece together with the AI entirely. You can create a lot of kind of trash. I know some agencies and some of people and some of clients with whom I decided kind of not to work, which were interested in creating 100 articles at a time, trying to boost traffic from the very beginning kind of for the new website. And actually, I know how Google penalized them this year, where their traffic dropped kind of significantly because there was nothing valuable in that type of content which could be found anywhere. Anyway, what works for me currently with respect to SEO articles? First of all, it's SEO data, which basically the ChatGPT can produce on the basis of the article which you wrote, like meta descriptions, meta titles, some alt text for the photos, whatever. It helps sometimes for me to avoid the block. Any writer has its blocks, like kind of writing blocks, where you have some structure in mind, but you look for some fresh idea or what can you add, what value can you add. And ChatGPT actually is very good at it. It can tell this section you better use some quote from expert of this field, or you can use kind of case study if you have related to this topic, or there are some researchers which you can look for, which will help you, and this is kind of good thing. Also, sometimes it helps for the big kind of top articles of the cluster, because I worked a lot with that with my clients and with the companies I work at. When we are trying to make like the SEO cluster, the main big article of the cluster, and the other ones which are answering in more details on some parts of the article. And actually, at this stage, ChatGPT can also help, because when you're creating the big SEO listicle and you have some kind of idea of the cluster in mind, it can help you to shape this cluster. And also, when you input some of the Ahrefs or some Rush data in it, it can actually better organize these parts, kind of where to fit better this cluster, how to reorganize the topics, which you'd better write first, which will work in this kind. I've also used it. What else? Also very good at top terms. For example, if you're writing an article, I don't know, about what are the best ways to promote your product, whatever. And when you have standard like SEO parts, what means promotion of the product, or what is this product, whatever, like typical questions. And it can actually generate pretty good results at that point, especially with the right input. Because one part of my experimenting was with prompts. Actually, when I first tried to ask ChatGPT to just write about this, it's definitely not the working prompt. But I will give you one example. But if you act as a content marketing manager with 10 plus years of experience writing in these particular topics, and you give it your content pieces and teaching it to incorporate your tone and style of writing, it can do better work. Yeah. So it can, for some standard tasks, it works really pretty well. So in this case, it's always very important to separate your different writing tasks and for kind of different topics, and to teach GPT in each specific GPT in what tone of voice and what style of writing. Give examples from your writing or from other authors which are good in the topics, or from competitors. It is also good. The other thing, probably it's not kind of fully related to SEO, but which worked for me, is summarizing of some things. For example, if you're writing a listicle, when you are comparing tools, and you fully describe each of the tool, which its advantages, good, bad things, reviews, whatever, and then you would like to create a summary table, which will generate all the information in the concise way. It also works pretty good. It can really create the table with some prompting and some tweaks, but it's easily summarizes things. That can be also helpful. That is also works, for example, when you would like to make some conclusions at the end of the article, or some conclusions at the end of the description of some specific tool, when you need to summarize this writing. Also, a good thing when you need to incorporate certain keywords across the text. Yeah, it puts it precisely the way you asked it to, or to check whether they incorporate it in the right way. Editing some of the things, but you have to be very careful with that, because in many cases when ChatGPT edited something, it adds some facts which need to be checked, because it's always kind of bad in terms of referencing some certain sources, or in terms of data, or in terms of adding some specific quotes from the authors. Although it depends. In the last, I guess, half a year, it is making better job when they are referencing some specific experts, or quotes from the article, whatever. That sometimes works, but always needs fact checking like that.
Yeah. Are these all current use cases? Do you use them, at your current role at Revenue Grid, or in your agency?
In recruiting CRM, actually, yes, in recruiting CRM, that's the current role currently. Yes, I use it for summaries, for generating idea, for some of the SEO data like meta titles, text. Yeah, sometimes it helps with social media posts for the company webpage, kind of like that. There were also, we are a startup, so we have not kind of a big team. I work a lot on myself there. When I worked in Revenue Grid, I was part of the bigger marketing team, and we had more opportunities for using various forms of content. They're also experimented with using AI for repurposing, and it's actually one of its probably strongest sides. I will give you an example. Yeah, our leaders they participated in the Dreamforce company, which is kind of a big event in the Salesforce community. And we had recording of the video presentation during the conference. But even this one video can go into, I guess, 10 forms of content with the help of AI. So you can go from there to the shorter presentation itself, the text presentation. From there, you can go to we made short scripts for shorter videos for the social media, kind of 1-2 minutes, extraction from the big video. We use it for social media posts, focusing on some important quotes and things related to the big video. It also perfectly work for ads related to that. So into testing various headlines for different target audience and trying to change tone of voice, for example, and persona, because we had 3 personas which we worked. And each of had required some different approach.
Sorry to interrupt. You're using ChatGPT for these tasks that you mentioned, not another tool.
Yes.
ChatGPT.
It's a ChatGPT. We once used. It was one experiment. It was nice, but not everything I like. There is one tool. It's HandGen, which creates videos with avatar. And we had kind of idea in making a kind of series about revenue operations. And we had several heroes, and it was a boy and a girl. Each of them had some specific problems, which is sales operation, and trying to explain how it overcomes it with our tool, kind of that. And in this case, kind of make kind of script, which also GPT helps with that, and then making the video avatar who tells the story. Yeah, again, now the leadership, trustworthy content from the leadership works in social media better than avatars. So kind of it's always better when the head of company or CMO or any sales leader tells with a person who tells something, not an avatar. So, but I'm sure that for some personal campaigns, I don't know, maybe not in LinkedIn, it can be still used. Whatever in Instagram, for example, I assume Facebook, maybe.
The reason I asked about ChatGPT was you mentioned back to the Dreamforce event when you repurposed all this content. You mentioned that you had to specify, target audiences, maybe tones of voice, your brand guidelines.
Yeah,
and
you have to, to make it clearer. One of the important things is that, of course, you can use ChatGPT for some to create it is known that it can make us deaf and create target audiences for you. It didn't work good for me. The more important thing is to give all the data. For example, you have 3 personas. Each of these personas has certain characteristics. It's also very good, works with our prompting, asking a question for you. For example, interview me, I'm chief marketing officer or product marketing manager, and you would like to understand what are the target persona with which you work. For example, with you, we have 3 personas: sales manager, chief revenue officer, and Salesforce admin. And please ask me specific questions, what you would like to know about each of these persona to create the profile, or later to adapt the messages on LinkedIn advertisement related to certain topic for each of these personas. You can use the information from this presentation and use the answers from these questions. And in this case, it kind of, you can go both ways. I tried both. With interviewing, it's even better because, as you probably all know, GPT works bad when you input too much text into it. like you not do it step by step, but from the very beginning, like kind of input all the data which you know about your company, clients, whatever, make 10,000 words input, and then trying to produce something from it. So it's so better to make it step by step. And very good question is to use it as your assistant, kind of. So ask him, kind of, ask me what you need from me in order to do this task. And it will help. It really helps. Because, for example, you give some information about your target persona and you ask, please, what else would you like to know? And for example, it asks, and like, which parts of your product this persona prefers? What are the characteristics of the challenges which persona solves with this particular product? For example, what accents you would like to make in the campaign with related to this target persona? What tone of voice would you like to use? Whatever. So it's kind of a lot of experimenting, but what I want to say, you have to, how I work with it. I use it as my assistant.
Yeah.
Not like kind of person who substitutes me or can create like me or can, although it can create something. I mean, it can write, I don't know, a kind of tale for my child using some of information in the database, and it worked pretty well. But in terms of work, you have to like make kind of preparation, not trying to ask him, oh, do everything for me, or imagine that you, I don't know, you know about my product or about my target persona, but you ask me. That's very important thing.
Yeah.
And it really helps. And tell exactly what you want to receive. Like, for example, I don't know, if you have the actions for the customer, like I use it a lot. Also, one of these cases was to prepare for the customer interviews. For example, you have a certain template for your future case studies, and you need to ask certain questions, and you later need to use this kind of interview for the creation of the normal case studies. So we all know that it can summarize the scripts very strongly. But what about questions? So kind of help him to understand, like, what you know about this customer already. Ask me, what do you want to know more about this particular customer to help him answer this particular question? What examples would you like to receive from his side? What additional information could you provide me about his usage of the product if you know? Something like that. Like make it kind of interactive thing. Because I think that the big part of the AI, how funny it is the actually writing. I mean, it's the strongest thing of it is like assistance in writing. And these are completely two kinds of different things. Because people think that it can substitute or not substitute. That is the main internet arguments nowadays. Half of my LinkedIn is either, oh, we support AI, AI will substitute writers. It's not about that actually. It's about the communication, how AI can help you in making your routine tasks better, how it can help you to be more creative actually, how it can help you to make some fresh ideas. How can it use actually competitors' content? Maybe that use case I could focus on.
Yes,
If
I'm interested in that.
yes, about like when you're writing some kind of a landing page, or I would say the article about competitor alternatives.
Yes, recruit CRM alternatives.
Yes. So, for example, you need to use some specific keywords. I don't know, we would say versus X. We would not talk about competitors now. And we would like, GPT to help you create the structure for this particular article. You give some in terms of keywords, in terms of competitor or vendors on the topic. You give information, important information about yourself and about the competitor. You do not have to ask him to like make it from somewhere because it would not focus on the features which you need. So you should kind of give this input. Your role is to go through the reviews which your competitors have and provide it to ChatGPT. You should give information about the features which you would like to focus on. And you could ask him to create some kind of structure and how this should be localized and what should be inside. And with all this input and, of course, some fixing, it can produce pretty good results because you give him everything he needs to, and you make a kind of fact checking. So the reviews are real. That's its kind of worst part, one of the worst part of GPT. When you are trying to ask him, produce the review for me, it should be real.
Question, Victoria. So I could so this like this. So I could give ChatGPT 50 reviews of a software, and I could say find me. Let's say I have a section in my article that is the main limitations of this software.
Yes, main advantages and main limitations.
Yes, and I tell it extract for me the recurring limitations or benefits that people have across these 50 reviews.
Yes, definitely do that. And the next thing, please write the paragraph where you focus on our features 1 to 3 in comparison to the how it addresses the typical, recruiting the field, taking into account the limitations of the competitor. Yeah. So kind of you have table, and of course you also have the text below the table, which is trying to compares your tool with the other tool, and you have to do it some way. So you talk about your features in comparison to the competitor, limitation, how you address this limitation. But this will require also some of the fixing, because you should always tell GPT that it should be very careful about comparison with the competitor, not to make it aggressive, that it should be natural. But it's kind of tone of voice thing which you can teach. Because sometimes you make it too straightforward, For example, you have this feature and the comparison don't. It's your advantage. Not like that.
Yeah. Interesting. So you can even on the let's say you don't know how well your product matches with a competitor, right?
Yeah.
Which is sometimes the case, especially as a freelance writer.
Yes, very good examples. You have a new client and you're starting working with him. And of course, you need to pitch him. That's kind of good thing to understand his competitors. And when you would like to offer some forms of content, which probably they didn't try, for example, you can go to G2 reviews of the competitor and see who are top 10 and ask GPT to create the competitor's table with advantages and limitations of each of the competitor and compare it to your tool. And from that, make a speech to your clients about the lexical, which will make the comparison of the tool with the competitor, which will have a certain structure and will focus on this thing.
Yeah. Very nice.
And you can't, what I'm telling you, you can done in kind of, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It works pretty well because, in my experience, for example, long-term listicles are one of the very good SEO purposes of content. But just they had to be very detailed and whatever. That's one of options when you would like to attract traffic, especially to the YouTube program.
Very cool. What else?
Okay, what else? Let's speak about some things. We talked about alternatives. Very nice thing about competitors again. Fresh ideas. You know what I do? I have a subscription to main 5 competitors newsletter. And I gather from there the content ideas, actually. So the role of the GPT is kind of to gather the information from these newsletters and to give me some new content and fresh ideas based on those newsletters. And sometimes it also works pretty well. Either it gives some keyword sometimes, which you should focus on, or use better, I don't know, use some I've got one idea from, for example, competitor newsletter, because they wrote about stock Twitter and LinkedIn influences in the field. And it was pretty nice. So article, and it gave me some ideas for our own blog. And also it helped actually to cooperate with some of the recruiters who were kind of listed, which we gathered during this process to promote our products as well. So that's kind of also one of the things. What else? About scripts, I told you actually, yes, when you would like to, for example, when clients would like to make a script for the video on certain topics, again, it works pretty well. You can kind of make an interview with the CEO or CMO who would like to talk, and then create the short video or a 1 minute video, which he would script, which he would then have to just share on the LinkedIn, for example. Yeah, and in this case, also which pretty good worked for me is use top 10 LinkedIn creators which are producing some type of content and giving ChatGPT examples of such kind of scripts in order to make some certain structure of its own. Yeah, so it's pretty actually, in fact, good too. I wouldn't say that it's perfect, of course not. I wouldn't say that it can write in the same way as an experienced writer. No, I really think, I don't know, maybe we will a little bit talk later about the future of AI, how I see it. But what I want to say that, in fact, the real data, the real quotes, the real expert views will be always more valuable than were some generic data produced by the AI, because it has only what it was taught already. If you would like to make something new and or to show some unknown idea or something like that, you will never do that, because I think that the future goes in the actually expertise and making something for the industry in general. So the future is there. Talking with real people, input the real thought leadership inside the content, getting the expert quotes, getting the reviews, answers on the questions, whatever. And it's always work. For example, I have one of the clients from hospitality industry, and they are making IPT, guest experience in IPTV, whatever. And what works very good for them is incorporating the real interviews from the hotelier showing the experience. And what things would work. But GPT can really help you in, gathering questions for the interviews, or then structuring the interview, showing what kind of parts of the interview you have to input into your guide, where to put it in the best possible way, whatever. So it's kind of assistant. It makes it work 5 times faster. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah. Very nice. Sometimes, with everything we mentioned so far, it cuts the time so much, especially when you have a lot of data to analyze, like maybe we said 100 reviews and, finding common themes. How are you going to do that?
So I think that in future we will think about many GPTs which assist you in specific tasks. If you are a content marketer, there will be GPT responsible for the video scripts, the one responsible for the customer review, the one responsible for SEO data. They are already such kind of specialized GPTs, but they are not quite well. The better thing is to make your own kind of. And of course, the specialists who will be able to use them will win in comparison to those who do not use them. Because the technology is the thing which you have to learn how to use. I think that the most problem which we had with AI in the last year is that people tried to use it and were not successful sometimes. And they did not experiment enough to obtain the results. And you have to understand where you obtain good results, where you obtain bad results, and experiment again. And and the more data you give to it, and the more specific you are, and more examples you provide from different perspectives, trying it to use it as an assistant who will interview you, like I told, the results you get as they do.
Very nice. Well, we could end here. Do you have anything else you'd like to speak about?
I will probably add only one short thing that you should also know that content marketing is broader thing than just content itself. Sales are in your, especially in freelancers world, and whatever, even whether you work in a big corporations, there are multiple tasks coming to you every day. And actually, ChatGPT is also a good assistant here. Yes, he can kind of organize your schedule. He can help you to prepare for some kind of work. Actually, I also use it to prepare for my meeting with you, to summarizing some of my ideas and to just kind of try to remember some of the use cases, whatever. So that's the things which you can work on. So for both from your working perspective and from your personal schedule, just use an assistant. Later, I think, as you know, before ChatGPT appeared, I thought about hiring a personal assistant. Actually, I now have the best personal assistant ever, who doesn't ask additional questions, who is very works multiple hours without any problem.
Without complaining.
Not complaining, always ready for experiments, costs kind of $25 a month, And I'm really not sure that I would ever get a person who will be such effective in so many routine tasks that I have. So I just recommend to give it a try.
AI stealing jobs is real, everyone.
Yeah, of course, it will never, we are human. We have connection. We need to talk. We will never, I do not expect that in 3 years in the podcast, they will be talking to avatars and not you and me.
Yeah.
There will be still people and unique content and the unique expertise will be always important. But when we will come to the point when you will make short pieces from podcasts and put it into the social media, then you have a system, right? The same way as you. So that's its role. That's where it can develop. Of course, it will get better. It will understand other languages and write in other languages better. Because I kind of see that, for example, I don't know, in Romanian it works worse than in English, whatever. For popular languages it works better. This will improve. But it will not substitute humans entirely. Just you have to be an expert in your field, and in this case, it will work.
It's a good note to end on. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Victoria.
Thank you, Christian. It was a great talk. I was happy to get acquainted and to talk here. I wish everyone success with AI. Experiment and use it as a personal assistant. That's the key to success.
There you go. You heard her. Bye.
Bye.